My name is Alban Bacchus. I'm the fifth child in a family of 11 children, born to Gerald Bacchus and Enid King Bacchus. I was born in Richland Park, of course, St. Vincent, and went to elementary school and high school, secondary school, the Adventist Academy there. Graduated in 1963 from Mountain View Academy and left. I worked in Mountain View as a teacher for 3 years, left the island in 1967 at the age of 21 to go to college at Andrews University in Berrien Springs, Michigan.
Tell me about your parents, Mr. Bacchus.
Yes, my dad was the first in his family, born to Ranjit Bacchus and Beatrix Sutherland Bacchus. Dad was a tailor primarily, and then got into banana growing, and as a young man, that was our main activity, helping to cultivate and ship bananas. My mother, her parents were Alexander King, and her mother died early, so she, as the oldest in the family, stayed at home and never went to school and took care of her siblings.
Tell me about your brothers, sisters, and their names and their
Yes.
occupations, if you have that information.
Yes, the family started out with a girl, Marcella, and she went to England and did nursing, came back and worked for some time in Richland Park and Beckway. Had gone to Caribbean Union College, and married Leo Fileri from Carriacou. She's now retired, and they're both living back in Carriacou, and I'm going to go see them this weekend after many, many years not having seen them. Second, there were 8 boys in a row after that, and then 2 girls. So the second in the family was Renrick Bacchus. He went into the Seventh-day Adventist Church ministry, was a pastor mainly in Canada, and he became president of the Ontario Conference for 2 terms, retired, and is living in Oshawa. Yeah. After him is Reginald Bacchus. He was a teacher in Michigan in high school until he retired, and now he's living back here in St. Vincent. Between him and myself, we lost one as a child, and then I came along, went to Andrews University, did medical technology, got a master's in biology, then went to Michigan State for a PhD in human physiology, and then spent 3 years as a postdoc research fellow at the University of Virginia. Then I went and did college teaching, and my most enjoyable segment of my career was teaching health and wellness and creating 2 new courses and having 2 books published. After me is Whitford, now known as John Bacchus. He was principal of MVA for some time, and then went to St. Croix. He's a math teacher, taught math in the high school there, and then went to Florida, did some teaching. He and his wife Sylvina is married to Sylvina, both teachers, and they're retired now in Florida, outside Orlando. After him is Don Bacchus. He became a clinical psychologist, a school psychologist, and retired in Florida also. So he lives there. After him is Austin, and he went into the ministry, worked with the Wisconsin Conference for a while, then transitioned into marriage and family therapy practice. He lives in Wisconsin and is semi-retired. He still practices that. After him is Gerald, named after our dad. His other name was Ewan, and he was also a teacher, education, married to Marlene from Columbia, and they are retired in Maryland now. And after him is our sisters, Yvette. They were both teachers also, worked a lot, many years in St. Croix, and then retired in Florida. The last one in the family is Hetty Bacchus, married to a Pakistani gentleman, Khan, and they have a thriving computer business. She completed her doctorate in nursing and is retired, living in Silver Spring, Maryland. So that's the count for the whole family there.
Very large family.
Very large family.
And deeply rooted in the SDA.
SDA
Yes.
church system of education. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So education is the hallmark of your family.
It is. It is what we got pushed into, and sometimes we didn't appreciate how to balance that well with practical skills. So,
Growing up, you must have heard about uncles and aunts and some
yes.
names that are now familiar to us
Yes.
as people of Indian descent.
Yes.
Maybe you can tell us about those that your aunts and uncles first of all, and those that you heard about growing up, your extended family.
Yes. On my dad's side, of course, his three brothers were Grafton Bacchus, Lauren Bacchus, and Winston Bacchus. The aunts I didn't know too well. Elrita was married to a Williams just over the river, and Clarice. I know Ermin, who is married to Alfonso Lewis, and connections on the other side of the family. And Ida, married to Vertil, his second wife. No, I'm wrong there. Inez, that's Inez, yeah. Ida is married to Kenneth Lewis. And of course, you know Helen, and yeah, that's Helen's dad. So that side of the family. Evelyn, I think, was the youngest of the aunts, and she lived in England most of her career, and passed away recently. So, on my mom's side, I have an uncle whose name was Manasseh. I had Uncle Lawrence, Uncle Reuben, and my aunt Tanti Ursi, mother of Dr. Gideon Lewis. Yeah, so connections on both sides.
That brings me to the question about your grandparents. Tell me about them. Where do they live, and their names?
Yes. Ranjit Bacchus on my dad's side, and Beatrice Sutherland Bacchus. They lived right in Richland Park. I knew my great-grandfather, Babu. I think he owned a good stretch of Richland Park. Then he divided it among his children. So Ranjit had a kind of top area, and then his brother Owen had a house lot between him and where Babu lived, and then Uncle Norman, the next one, just further down, and then Uncle Joseph, grandfather's brother, yeah, there. So rich, all, yep. And in my mom's side, Lawrence and Manasseh moved away and were in Curacao and Aruba. Uncle Reuben lived in Calda, and Tanti Ursi, of course, in Richland Park, where Uncle Edward raised their family there.
And these were mostly from Richland Park?
Mostly, yes. All
from Richland Park?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure you've heard stories about some of our Indian foreparents. Any in particular you recall that you heard from maybe your father, grandfather, grandparents?
Yeah. Not a whole lot of details. I don't think our interest in the history became very prominent until I think Lenroy Thomas was the one who kind of stimulated that interest, and with his book, and then with the SVG Indian Heritage Foundation, we're learning more now. But I knew Babu. I was 8 years old when he died, and very, very pleasant, fun memories. From the church, we used to take a singing group of young kids and teenagers up to his home, and you know, on Saturday afternoons, and have a nice program for him. One of my memories is he would send us boys outside to pick leaves, you know, from the plant there, and then he would put that in his ganja and have a good smoke, nice sweet smelling smoke. Yeah. So that was fine. And they tell me that he was a little boy in the group that came over from India. Yeah. So that
Came as a young.
he came as a a child, maybe 6, 7 years old or so. So that's the I think most the strongest connection that I feel with him. Yeah.
Okay. And do you know any of the Indian names that you heard about? You know, you mentioned Babu, and
Yes.
any others that you recall that you heard about? Maybe stories, or maybe the elders.
Yeah,
mentioned to you?
there was Cha-Cha, and I don't know how well that's related. Of course, Babu's name was Ridley. Ridley, yeah, okay. And I've heard that there was a Rambulak Singh, and the story that came down to me was that when the British were recording the names, you know, they didn't take the time to record the Indian names, so they gave several people different names, and I heard that one brother became Bacchus, and another brother became Bullock, and then and
Became Sutherland.
Sunderland, and yeah,
Just from Rambulak Singh, everything.
yes,
Descended.
yes.
Tell me about some of the stories that you've heard about your elders. If there's any that you've heard, anything that sticks out, that stands out to you.
Yeah, the work on the plantations in the Argyle area, I think stands out to me. Sugarcane and cotton growing, and in fact, my dad, he started out his career walking down from Richland Park to Argyle to work, you know, in the fields there. And that has a connection to a family, because the young lady who became a mother would take his freshly laundered clothes down to him sometimes, and that connection got made there.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Let's go back to you for a bit. What do you remember most in the earlier times growing up? You said Richland Park.
Yes,
And
yeah.
your boyhood days, as
yes,
we say.
yeah. Elementary school for me was in the time when they were still using slate, you know, to write on with a lead pencil, and a lot of outdoors fun, playing marbles, constructing out of car tires. You know, you cut a strip down that would be hard enough to become a wheeler, and you have a stick to hit it and run run behind it. We used to take a bamboo stick and one end make an axle and put two cotton wheels from the tailor shop, you know, and then that would be, and you put a shoe polish top and wind the string around that, and you can turn it and move around. And we used to challenge one another to spread green grass, you know, around in the path, and you had to maneuver around all that with your push roller. Yeah.
And how would you say times have changed since then? I mean,
Yeah.
the days of the adventures, and I've heard that from the other elders.
Yeah.
That, you know, going to the river, hanging
Yes,
with friends,
bathing in the river,
sitting under a mango tree for hours,
and staying all day and making a deep hole. You know, everybody diving down and pulling out stones and packing up.
just embracing nature.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Clearly that has since changed. How do you think life has changed for the average young man growing up now, let's say in Richland Park, compared
Yeah.
to then?
I think the technology and the conveniences that are there, I see um, not enough time in outdoors and original inventions or activities. Yeah. I remember learning to ride on a scooter. You know, you have two wheels and a board and just a steering thing. And
And you got a few bruises along the way.
I love.
Yeah.
Yep, lots of falls. One of the memories, my dad had a bicycle, and he would fit somebody on the handle, somebody sitting on the front fender, one on the bar, one on the seat, and then one on the carrier, and carry about 5 of us at the same time, riding just the street, just for fun, just back and forth. in Richland Park there.
But that's one of your cherished memories
Yes.
from youthful days. Anything else that you can
Yeah.
remember? A fun point in time that still resonates with you to this day?
Well, I had a nasty temper when I was little, and probably about 5, 6 years old. Dad was giving me the strap, you know, for for some bad behavior, and I run away from home. So I started up the hill, up Babu Hill, up to my grandfather's house above, and he had a dog that wasn't very friendly and familiar with us. And the dog came barking viciously at me, you know. And in my hot temper, I ran up to the dog and boxed him right on the ears. And he took off yelping. My big brother was coming to catch me and saw that incident. So we joke about that a lot.
Well, that was a
Yep.
fun memory
That
we
was,
have.
that was, yeah.
But outside of that, were there any points in time that things were difficult, whether family-wise, things got a bit challenging growing up that you want to mention?
Yeah, I think taking care of a family of 10 children, I don't know how my parents.
You're still trying to figure that one out. Too.
Yes, I don't know how they made it. And yet, Dad would still be so faithful in paying tithes and giving offerings, and then they got into building the school, you know, operating an elementary school out of the church building. And then I think it started in Uncle Joseph's home, and the products from that elementary school is just amazing to me that we got through. And some of us who got into science, we had no background in science, and we made it through. I had a difficult start in school because of my left-handedness. So it used to be what is now kindergarten. It used to be called stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. So in stage 1, man, Miss Providence was the teacher. She could come around and hit me with a ruler on my left hand and make me write. So Leroy Morgan was my best friend at that time, and he had a beautiful penmanship. So he says, we can get around this, you know. So he would do his work, right? Nice and pretty writing. And then he would slip his paper to me, and then take my paper, disguise his handwriting, and do mine. And I would pretend like I'm writing with my right hand, right? And then when the teacher isn't looking, we'd switch papers back. So that severe discipline kind of push you to devise some way around.
You learn to adapt.
You learn to adapt, yeah.
But is there anything that you would change in life? Anything at all you could think about that you would do differently?
In terms of what
Life
we
in
had growing
general,
up, life in
yes.
general,
From then to now.
I my background is rich. I like that. We survive. We learn discipline. We learn hard work, and no, I really don't feel like any other way would have you know, been enjoyable, I guess. Yeah.
If you had an opportunity to change anything in St. Vincent and the Grenadines or make things different,
Yeah.
what would that be?
Yeah.
for you?
I think maybe having a national discussion on how race relationships used to be, how we have evolved, and the progress we have made, and maybe what else needs to be done, and get the young people's input on that. I think when I grew up, we were kind of very separate, and there was a consistent effort for the Indian community to remain Indian, you know, and not intermix with the rest of the population. I think that has disappeared. I think you know, there's a lot more freedom, and I think you have made a lot of progress. The days when I used to be called and feel like a coolie was the word, you know, and especially the time before DDT was introduced, when we had lice, and they
right.
call you licey coolie. That was hurtful.
Reflecting on that now, times have certainly changed.
Yes, yeah, I think, yeah. And I think the standard of health and hygiene have improved a lot. Yeah. Remember the outhouses, and one of the things that I still sometimes dream about with a nightmare was fishing a chicken from down in the outhouse. They fell in.
But Dr. Bacchus, I should refer to you as a Dr.
Oh,
Bacchus. I know you don't like the, but yes,
that's
Dr.
fine.
Bacchus.
I've earned it, but
Yes, you've earned it. You've definitely earned it.
yeah.
One thing I've noted is the quality of work that you've done, and you've produced some books along the way.
Yes.
And just giving you an opportunity to highlight some of your work.
Yes.
I know you have
Yeah.
two of your books here. Maybe you can just show our viewers
Yes.
the covers.
Yeah.
If you can understand what you write about.
Yeah. Well, originally, my mother wanted me to become a doctor, right? That was not my gift. I wasn't, just to have a doctor in the family, right? So I enrolled as a pre-med major. In my junior year, I realized I'm not going to make it, right? So I fell in love that year, and we decided to get married before I finished college. So I switched my major to medical technology, and got married, and we went through the whole works of both of us working, getting my doctorate, and doing 3-year postdoc. Got a good paper out of it. But then I found I had hit my limit. I couldn't see myself being a scientist, research, and lecturer in a medical school, which is what I was qualified to do. It was just too stressful. And I said, I have to step back from that. I had no time for family. And I was getting physical symptoms, you know, a spastic colon syndrome, headaches, and all that. I said, that's not the life I want to live. So I settled for college teaching. So my first position was at Columbia Union College, assistant professor in the biology department, because physiology was my background. Then that fell apart quickly, and next to the Tacoma Park campus of that college is the main campus of University of Maryland. So I didn't have a job when I quit there. I went over there, and there was an opening for a teaching assistantship in the Department of Health Education. And I said, well, this is a good time for career switch. So I switched into health education, and the chairman of the department, in a nice deep conversation one day, he says, you have the chance to design a new course for the college and for the adult education system. Teach what you want, name it what you want, teach how you want. So I went and discussed that with my wife, and I said, we have a life experience that we can share. A lot of other people are looking for how to be the healthiest you can be, how to be happy, right? And what does love mean in your life? So we designed a course called Personal Wellness and Self-Realization. Out of that course came this book after we taught it for 16 years. So we published this together as co-authors. all the degrees might be in my name, but she earned her 50% of it too. So that was nice. And then this book was used in a course. I went back to Columbia Union College, and that book was used in a course that they had created called Healthier Living. And then from that, I had a chance to create a course for them, which I named Christ-Centered Wellness. And of course, love is the foundation. Being as healthy as you can be is the path to wellness. And then in Christianity, you look to Christ as the model. So out of that, we taught that for another 15 years and got this book published in 2021, Love, Wellness, and Happiness. And this is based on the same framework and the same foundation that love is the basis of our humanity. And there are 4 dimensions of love. And out of that, we see how do we optimize each of those dimensions. So my excitement right now at the end of my career is to pass on this framework, and I'm talking serious discussions with a high school teacher in Martinsburg where I live, and he wants to create a new course for high school seniors and community college students, and we are naming it Love, Wellness, Happiness, and the Self-Examined Life. So kind of bring young people, young adults to understand themselves deeply and what their path of growth is. And we have a research component where we follow them up for 15 years. So long answer to a short question.
Sure, no problem. We love to learn about the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Now, anything else you'd like to add that we may have missed along the way before we wrap up?
Right now I'm very, very passionate about fundraising to help build a school in Richland Park. The elementary school has never had a building of its own. And Lenroy Thomas, Brinsley Lewis, Dr. Gideon Lewis, myself, and my brother John Whitford, he helped them get the land right now next to the church in Richland Park. And we have started a building. So we formed a non-profit organization called LWH Ministries so that donors, especially in the States, can get a tax deduction for their donation. Our goal is to raise $1 million and to help push the building forward and get it completed. We're hoping 2027 that there would be a new building there for the elementary school. We all owe our foundation to that school and the wonderful teachers that we had there. So, yeah.
What do you know about the SPG Indian Heritage Foundation and the work that has been done by the foundation?
Yeah, I read the history. I've been in touch with Lenroy for many years, several years now. I think the formation of it came out of Lenroy and was it Bertram or one of those Uncle Norman's sons, and now to get accurate records, I think is the emphasis. Yep, that is there, and I appreciate the work that Junior Bacchus is doing, you and the others involved. Had a nice conversation with Cheryl, and yeah, getting to know you guys better. I haven't been home here for 35 years.
Wow.
Yeah, because my parents had moved to St. Croix when my brother lived there. So anytime we had vacation, we'd go to visit the parents.
So this is your first time home in 35 years?
In 35
Wow.
years, yeah.
And it's different.
It's different, man. I went on the ferry yesterday, and being able to just drive on to the ferry and get to Beckway in 40 minutes. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
But in terms of the work of the foundation, what would you like to see the foundation do to better enhance the...
Yeah, and I think you guys have started to publish some papers on the history as we ascertain, how accurate our records are. I think maybe establish some kind of continuing education course for the younger generation to be able to keep up with, the history and what we are learning and things like that. I'd like to see us maybe contribute in some way to the national effort in health and wellness, and that's one of the things I'm passionate about, to see that this next generation don't give in to the fast food and gratification, and think of the long term, because lifestyle can kill the genetics.
Okay.
Oh, so.
And any final word you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Yes, this has been fun, and part of the enjoyment for me right now, coming back after 35 years away, is getting to know this younger generation of relatives, and to have the privilege of being here at Denzel's and Judy's house and this beautiful scenery to do this interview with you. I want to thank them so much for having me as their guest here. I appreciate the work that the foundation is doing, and the effort to keep the history alive and pass it on. And it's a kind of wake-up sense of reality that on June 1 I'll be entitled to use the term elder.
So you'll be 80 on June
I'll be
4th, which is
80.
Indian Arrival Day.
Indian Arrival
So
Day.
what a day to celebrate your birthday.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, and you'll be part of
Yeah.
a big celebration the day
That's
before.
yeah, and I'm going to come back each year as long as I'm alive now.
Excellent. We'll be happy to have you.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
let me thank you very much for taking the time.
Yeah.
By the way, did you enjoy this
Oh
episode?
yeah, you made it fun. So-
All right, happy to know that.
yeah, yeah.
So let me just thank you very much for taking the time to chat with us and tell us about your family and your story, and appreciate you explaining about the
Yeah.
family connections
Yeah.
and sharing all that you did today.
My pleasure and privilege to do this, and it helps the history grow. And
And with your permission, we will, of course, edit this interview and present it to our audience as part of this year's celebration of Indian Arrival Day.
yes, definitely. Good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.